Connecting to you all from. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Raj and I'm connecting to you all from Gurgaon. And tonight we're very excited because tonight is special. We are going to have panel discussion. And why this makes exciting because we are going to ask our guest speakers some direct questions. Now, why these questions are so important and relevant? Because ये वो doubts होते हैं जो हम carry करते हैं, ये वो facts होते हैं जो हम अपने इर्द गिर्द देखते हैं. And we need to have a forum like this where we can ask, understand, and get more clarity about the most important subject in our life called health. A couple of years ago, wealth was the most important thing, and we all were running behind wealth. But now, especially post COVID, almost everybody has realized the importance of great health. To an extent that even the government of India had to acknowledge that samosa is not good for health, and you need to have now those things, those cards put up in the canteen where the samosas are being sold. So it's getting so important, and we are very fortunate today because आज बहुत यूनिक दिन है जहां गुरु और शिष्य एक साथ इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमको सुनने को मिलेगा. बिकॉज जो प्रिंसिपल्स गुरु ने सिखाए हैं वो शिष्य ने फॉलो करके उसको अपने लाइफ में वो चेंजेस लेके आए हैं. सो दिस दिस बैलेंस इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी एक्साइटिंग टुनाइट. And जैसा कि हम सारे जानते हैं, Farokh along with Veda and the other teammates has been running this program very very successfully. The batch that we are running, and with this mission of हर घर तंदुरुस्त हर घर मेडिसिन फ्री. आज मैं ये सवाल डेफिनेटली नहीं पूछने वाला हूँ बिकॉज जो लोग जानते हैं उनको पता है इसका इंपॉर्टेंस क्या है, और वो जो नहीं जानते, you need to definitely get in touch with the person who's invited you here, because then only you can appreciate and acknowledge that why this mission is so important. So let's welcome our guest speakers. फारूक तारापुर जो हमारे मेंटोर हैं, कोच हैं. ही डजंट नीड एनी इंट्रोडक्शन, बट जो लोग नहीं जानते मैं उनके लिए बता देता हूँ कि फारूक इज वर्ल्ड चैंपियन. ही इज ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंटेड India in Olympics. He's been Asian medalist. He is also the recipient of Arjuna Award. Right now, ऐसे व्यक्ति के साथ हेल्थ बाय डिफॉल्ट जाता है, और अगर नहीं भी जाता तो इनका जो इतना लंबा स्पोर्टिंग करियर है वो पॉसिबल ही नहीं होता अगर वो हेल्थ को लेके इतने फोकस नहीं होते. सो प्लीज वेलकम फारूक. Our second guest tonight is Vedavati Shetty, a very, very senior corporate lady, IT background. बड़ा एक्साइटिंग आज होने वाला है इनसे डायरेक्ट सवाल पूछ के. मैं बहुत खुश हूँ बिकॉज आज वो सारे सवाल पूछने का मुझे मौका मिल रहा है, इनकी जर्नी के बारे में, इनके मंत्रा के मिशन के बारे में, एंड व्हाट दे हैव अचीव फॉर देमसेल्फ एंड व्हाट विजन आर दे कैरिंग फॉर द सोसाइटी एंड फॉर एवरीबॉडी. सो वेलकम फारूक, वेलकम वेदा, गुड इवनिंग.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Raj.
Raj.
या सो आज मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ बिकॉज मैं वो सारे सवाल आपसे पूछने वाला हूँ आप दोनों से, विच आई हैव बीन हियरिंग फॉर लाइक व्हेन आई मीट पीपल एंड फ्रेंड्स रिलेटिव्स फैमिली. और ये सारे सवाल जो हमारे इर्द गिर्द होते हैं, आज वही सवाल मैं आप लोग से पूछने वाला हूँ. सो फारूक, माई फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू. यू नो We've been hearing, reading in articles everywhere, this sudden rise, be it thyroid, be it diabetes, be it cholesterol related issues. And यही नहीं, हमने पिछले 2-1 साल में ये भी बहुत ज़्यादा सुना है, कि the person was absolutely fine, he was going to office and suddenly there was this cardiac arrest and he died on the spot. Abhi recently, 10 days ago, I lost a friend of mine, something around 52 years of age. He was traveling in the metro and suddenly the cardiac arrest and on the spot he died. So ये दो फरूक बेसिक सवाल आपसे टू शुरू करने के लिए कि why do you think that the rise is so high on the health thing, like young children are getting cholesterol issues, diabetic related issues, and people are dying. I mean, why do you think this is on so much on rise now?
Yeah, Raj, and don't forget fatty liver.
Yeah, मैं आने वाला हूँ उस पर. That's the second thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On this platform, in this community, I've been saying this over and over again that if you give the body the right amount of nutrition and the right amount of exercise, not too much and not too little, you'd have found the safest way to good holistic health. Now, this is a very simple sentence, but it is not so obvious. And in order to understand that what is the right nutrition, what is too much, what is too little, what is the right exercise, what is too much and too little, that needs experience. That day I was just looking at a 25-year guy's report. Cholesterol about 350 or something like that. Then the guy has not lived for that long to have, eaten that much bad stuff that it has gone to this extent. So people need to understand that, okay, what is the right food? So, okay, let's take it step by step. So the first thing is, let's take the easy part of the exercise. Okay, that's not very complicated. Technology has advanced dramatically, and it has made people extremely sedentary. Now, we've not realized that slowly, we have started, doing one thing less, one thing less, one thing less. Like I still remember 1982 Asian Games, which was my first year of the Asian Games. The government had announced special concession for color television. That's the first time the color television came into being. They were all dabbas at that time still, not this fancy stuff that we see today. And most of it still didn't come with a remote. So you had to get up from your bed, or your sofa and put a switch on. And then you have to go, and if you wanted to change the channel, you have to go back over there. So all these little actions that you were doing by default suddenly started to disappear. Okay. And once that started happening, lifestyle started becoming sedentary. People didn't realize that. And they kept continuing with the other stuff, as okay, oh, it's normal. Okay, what's the big problem? Life is getting, and I agree with you fully that life is getting convenient. So why not enjoy the convenience? Yeah, sure. But you got to realize that that convenience later on in life can really become very inconvenient, because now that you are not doing movement by default, you have to do movement by design and by choice. And if you don't do that deliberately, then obviously the first part of the puzzle, okay, you're going to miss out in a big way.
Okay.
All right. So my theory is very simple. If you rest, you rust. If you rust, you die. So movement is very, very necessary. And just now, even companies like Apple, they have realized this. So they have this fancy Apple watches, which keeps an announcing, oh, you haven't moved in the last 1 hour, please move, So, I mean, they're all taking this into consideration before designing their, great apps. So you got to move. It doesn't matter whether you're a politician, you're royalty, whether you are, at any level, high level, you got lots of money. People fail to understand that if you have health, you can make wealth. But if you don't have wealth, okay, then the question of, wealth doesn't arise. In fact, you'll be losing. I mean, look at the case of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. 40,000 crores he left behind. I don't know how many generations, can survive in that. But you got to ask yourself a question. Did that 40,000 crores help him to live even for one more minute? So isn't your time on the planet, okay, priceless? Because 40,000 crores could not help him live even more than a minute. Now that should be a big eye-opener and saying that, wow, okay, I've got this whole funda wrong, that money can be unlimited. People think money is limited and time is unlimited. And when I mean time, I'm talking about health over here. Whereas actually it is time that is limited and money can be made, to an unlimited amount. And that's where people get this whole funda wrong between, mere paas, what is the normal, mere paas time nahi hai exercise karne ke liye. All right. And so far, not a single person has ever been able to convince me that he doesn't have time. Because through the busiest of busy schedules, on this community, I've shown people how you can find the time. Okay. You can do exercise while you're brushing your teeth. You can do exercise while you're throwing garbage. You can do exercise while you're taking a bath. Okay. You can do exercise when watching television. Even if you were to watch, bad commercials on a television, and you just did the abdominal exercises that we put on the website on our www.slimtrimsexythin.com, you will have a flat stomach. Like I strongly believe that everybody has got a six-pack. You only have got to remove the excess around it. मैं guarantee से बोल रहा हूँ कि it is there. Trust me. Remove the excess with देखो, you will see the six-pack. And boy, trust me. I mean, you start looking at your six-pack, I can assure you, you will like it. Okay. And people ask me, how you maintain this firm stomach for so many years? You say, because when that little fat comes on, I don't like it. So I make sure I get it removed, I don't go for a liposuction or something like that. But I do some exercise, eat the right food, and I make sure that flash over there is hurting me. I mean, I just can't live with it. And that's something that, people need to understand, and people need to get passionate and obsessed about. That when you get passionate and obsessed about it, you will automatically start doing exercise. You're going down a lift, for example. Don't take the lift. Sometimes in these high-rise buildings, it takes a hell of a long time. You can easily go down the staircase, go down the floors. It's a lot of movement that you're getting automatically. Don't necessarily, I got some friends who are so conscious, and they call themselves very optimistic, that I will drive round and round till I find the parking place closest to the spot that I want to go. Say, that's good from the optimism point of view. It's probably not good from your exercise point of view. Wouldn't it be better that the first parking slot that you get, you just park the car and walk that extra 200 or 300 meters? Okay, I think we've said enough about exercise, and the point has been made that exercise is important. Now let's come to the nutrition part. Okay. The entire system has got, the food system, the food pipeline has got contaminated. Okay. There is so much of processed food. There's so much of refined food. There's so much of super refined food. Now, human beings, I don't know. Okay. I'm just making a guess that maybe 1,000 years later, there'll be genetic changes, and we will be able to eat plastic. All right. So, abhi मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अभी मत करो. You're not ready for that. Okay. This stuff has just come in, like less than half a century ago. There's a big difference between what people were eating half a century ago and what people are eating today. The nutritional quality in the same apple that you ate 50 years ago to what you're eating today is different. In fact, I knew a scientist who was doing research on this nutrition content, and he was at one stage getting into almost depression. Okay, am I doing something wrong? How come, like, I'm looking at the recordings of this, more than 50 years ago, the nutrients that are supposed to be there in various fruits and vegetables, and the nutrients that are prevalent today because of, genetic modified farming. And, we just messed up the whole thing, under the pretext that we won't be able to feed 7 billion people, population rising to 10 billion. We want instead. So basically what governments did was they took an easy path. Okay. Instead of trying to see that, no, how we can make the quality of produce and make it grow more, they took the easy part. Okay, how we can, produce fast. Okay. So the same land is used. So the entire produce is massively contaminated. Now you take plastics. I mean, today people order from takeaways and all. Plastics. Do you even recognize that you get food in a container, and if it is black plastic, how often you find that somebody will take, say, a couple of spoonfuls from it, whatever is left, they put the lid on and put it in the fridge. My dear friends, that microplastic is going to get into that food, and that food is going to get into your system. And that is one of the few reasons for the rise in, lifestyle challenges and diseases, and including things like cancer. So there are these various aspects, okay, which have gradually deteriorated, and the big, the big advancement in medicine, okay, which has made people very safe. अरे कोई बात नहीं, शुगर हाई हो गया तो गोली खाओ, fatty liver, गोली खाओ, hypertension, pressure problems give rise to, diabetes will give rise to fatty liver give rise to kidney problems, and ultimately, you will start from like one tablet, Okay. There are so many people on this community we have saved so far, by making, why are you taking this pressure tablet? You really don't need it. Look at your pressure. Do some exercises, do some right things. And all of a sudden, you find that the problem goes away. Okay. And they say, wow, I didn't even realize it. And just before they get into the next medication, like people ask me, okay, how quick should you get off it? My answer is very simple. Before you get onto the next one. Okay.
Correct.
Get rid of that pill before you get onto the next one. Okay. Look, I'm not against development in modern science. I'm not against development in technology. But my humble submission to people in the group is, please use technology wisely. Like we have got, for example, this patches now available where we can monitor your sugar control. That is such an amazing, technological advancement which gives you minute by minute, what your sugar is, so that you can realize, was it stress? Was the food that I ate or something that I drank? So all these things, okay, I tell people, use technology wisely. Please don't abuse it. So that abusing, that the advance in the medical science, the over dependence on medicine. Okay. And it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault, because we all grew up, in a society where you said, okay, fever, all right, go to the doctor. Doctor gives you medicine and you're supposed to become all right. That's the myth that we grew up in. Least that people realize that fever, okay, is a natural way of the body fighting an infection. I often tell people that if the fever, in your armpit is 100 and up to 102, don't bother, because it's helping you. It's helping your cause. There is a difference. If you take the temperature in your mouth, it will be always 1 degree higher. All right. There's something, if you don't know, you got to learn about it, So up to 103 in the mouth or 102 in the armpit, I often tell people, don't take a paracetamol, because the very natural reason why you're getting the fever is to kill the infection. Then what you're doing is that you're killing the fever. Infection will still remain, the fever will subside, and then the body will have to fight and struggle, and the whole infection will nicely survive. Say, somebody is giving me paracetamol. Very good. Bring the fever down so that I can survive. Okay, so the virus inside or the infection inside is having a merry dance. It's like, wow, excellent that you guys have grown, technology is advancing. Let's not give virus that chance. Okay. And finally, my last point over here is stress. Okay. Today's day and age, the stress levels have gone through the roof. Now, there are very few people, like I understand, in sports, many people have accused me of, if I'm coaching somebody, I really put them under a lot of stress. But that's something, is a professional hazard, according to me. Okay. Nobody wins medals without stress, And if you can't learn how to deal with stress, in fact, there are some people, if you see in sporting, arenas also, that when the situation gets tough, that's where the phrase came, the situation gets tough, the tough get going. All right. And there are very few people, who can handle stress. People ask me, how can you be so cool? Kuch bhi ho jata hai, you are cool. You have any challenges, you are cool. You are cool. Because we have programmed ourselves. Now that I believe is not easy. I accept that. And it's not difficult. Everybody just can't do it. But then if you can't do it, can you not accept it and find a way to do normal management so that you don't, create stress? In fact, every time when we were in Europe and we used to have lots and lots of challenges, there were challenges by the minute, everything used to be not easy as it is, nowadays. And especially being an Indian in those days with no credit cards, things were very, very difficult for us. And the Europeans used to be surprised that, how you guys are so good at managing stress. And my answer was very simple, because we got a lot of experience. We live in a stressful environment. We create stress and then we find a solution around it. We don't have normal management. That's where I learned that, normal management is very, very important. So if you're getting stressed and you figured out that you're getting stressed, find a way to de-stress. Find a way to get organized. There is something known as Okay, even if you're fully organized, you will get stress. That is 100% predictable. But if that frequency is too rapid, like every hour you're getting stress for a new problem, and by something is wrong, yeah, with your lifestyle. Please make some changes. Leave out some things that are giving stress. Let it go to somebody else. But the stress is a very, very important factor. So the important thing is to ensure that you get sufficient knowledge about the whole subject, okay, so that you don't become a victim and you are not one of those statistic numbers like you just mentioned, so and so died like that, so and so. So you don't happen, because ultimately I always believe that health is your biggest asset, and if you don't look after it, who will?
Wow, thank you, Farokh. Very well answered. In fact, you have also answered my second question, that why do we see so many celebrities dying in the gym because they exercise? But you rightly said, you pointed stress and also the food habits. So coming to you, Veda, now, yeah, you were a corporate lady, a very, very senior corporate lady. I don't know how much you were moving. What Farokh said, like you need to move. You were IT professional, so I don't know. I'm sure because you are at a senior position, your stress levels would also have been high. So, Veda, if you could just tell us about your background, what brought you to this program? That's the second part. And third, what did you achieve from this program?
Thank you, Raj. So, yes, I have an IT background, been in IT for 27 years with that experience. But how did I get into this? Now, IT people, I'm not going to get into a lot of what we go through, because I think अभी सभी को पता है कि हम कुछ करते नहीं है, सिर्फ लैपटॉप के सामने बैठते हैं और कॉल्स पे रहते हैं, right? That's all we do from the time we wake up in the morning. I don't know what time we sleep. Okay, that's what we do. And because of that, when I met, when Raj said Guru or Shishya, I think I have two gurus here on this platform, because it was only because of you, Raj, that I saw you healthy, both of us being at this same age. How could it be? Because I had not
आज
seen
मैं क्वेश्चन
anyone.
आज मैं क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ, so आज आप मेरे को
नहीं,
कोट नहीं
but
कर
then
सकते।
this is for everyone, yes. But so I had never seen, literally till then, I had actually not seen a person my age being healthy. Okay, when I say healthy, matlab not overdoing things, not going to the gym, overdoing diet and all, and yet having a balanced life. And that's when I, got introduced to Farokh as well, and I understood that okay, थोड़े बहुत changes के साथ भी आप transform कर सकते हो. Till then, I was, in fact, at that point of time, I think this was almost 4 5 years back. And at that point of time, I was already at a BMI of 32, 33. That means at the obese range. I was a pre-diabetic. I had even, I think, cholesterol, triglycerides, high triglycerides. I don't know the numbers, but then everything was haywire. And, I used to get very tired. I had tried diets. I had tried, a few diets, but nothing worked, because in fact, I had subscribed to, gym memberships also, and didn't go to the gym even one single day because of the schedule. So I was of that mindset, जो Farokh बोल रहे थे ना, time नहीं है. Okay, and when Farokh said you have to make time for things, I had hundreds of excuses, कि नहीं, you tell me this is my schedule, I can't do it. But then slowly through the program, how what I understood was, in fact, it was during COVID. So imagine we couldn't even go out of the house. And at that time is when I was able to lose, almost 22 kgs in a span of 16 to 17 months. I took it
Wow.
slow. I took it slow because, of course, with the whole schedule, but it was consistent, and I could do it again. And when I say consistent, I'm not saying straight line consistent. No, friends, not like that. I did have my ups and downs where I couldn't do sometimes the exercises that Farokh mentioned, but we were part of a community, and that helped. That made a huge difference. What I understood was small habits of measuring one thing: what are you eating, tracking what are you eating, what are you exercising, what are you not doing, and actually reporting. That's what our community did. And whenever there were some breaks of, tracking, I would come back because there were others in the community who were reporting. So it encouraged. And that whole process saw gradual reduction in my weight. After that, people always thought that I would bounce back. Even I thought, but then probably shayad, I don't know whether I'll sustain or something. But why was I able to sustain? Usually, हम लोग जब कोई भी diet or anything करते हैं, तो we can't continue that for a very long time. Isme because we are not going into a diet, but we are actually changing, okay, more of the portions that we're eating, looking at the calories, empty calories versus good calories, nutrition actually, understanding all of this, awareness. Sorry, awareness is one more thing, कि हम क्यों कर रहे हैं. Of course, there's a lot of information, but the right information coming from people who actually walk the talk. That gave the confidence that I'm doing something right. And yeah, the main thing is I was able to sustain that weight loss even till date, barring probably a few 4 or 5 kgs here and there, which I've put on. And I know exactly why I've put on. I've been, after putting on some 4 kgs after that 22 kg weight loss, I have been able to sustain, matlab, I've not broken that barrier. I know exactly what to do to get it down through the program. And that has helped me, and I know why I've put on also. It was the stress factor, jo Farokh bol rahe the stress causing sleep issues. I never knew that sleep could actually cause weight gain. I didn't understand that till I understood what circadian rhythm is. I didn't understand that eating late, eating probably the limited calories, eating the right food, but if I'm going to be eating at 11 o'clock, it's actually going to be negative. And that I've understood only through this program, because those, and repetition, as Farokh always again says, is repetition is what is needed. He says the lines better, so I'm not going to repeat
Repetition is the
that.
mother of all teaching.
Okay, that's right. So, only with that is where I started learning, and I think that helped me sustain. And now, it's giving me great joy in helping others also, achieve better health. And it's a journey. It's still a journey which I'm on. I hope I have answered what you
Just,
asked. Yeah.
yeah. No, your 22 kgs was fantastic. I mean, it was amazing. And the second amazing part was you didn't bounce back to it. But एक और सवाल इसी में मेरा आपको, see, suppose if I'm a corporate guy, I would feel मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, मैं कैसे करूं, मैं कहाँ से करूं, मतलब अभी टाइम नहीं है, मतलब मतलब कैसे करूं. So how difficult was it for you to adapt to this whole philosophy, or was it easy, like?
मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगी कि easy था.
हाँ.
It needed a mindset change first. It needed a definite mindset change कि we can create pockets of time. Literally calls ke time pe, when I didn't have to type the emails or when I didn't have to present, Farokh showed us this small, simple exercise, where you can actually exercise your abs. Okay, and it really helped me in my stomach area plus my thighs. It helped me hugely. And I used to do that ab sitting exercise. चलो walk पे नहीं जा पा रही थी तो वो abs, I call it ab sitting exercise. That helped me. For those pockets of time, I started with 10, increased 20, 100. There were times when I used to do thousands literally in a day. And people used to wonder, bhai, kaise kar? I didn't do it in a day's time. It literally took some, what do you say, some period, few months to get there. But it made me realize that you don't need to create some time for exercise. It made me realize that even ghar pe, like I was moving around consciously a little more. Calls pe, for example, we are on calls. I think most, forget IT people, I think everyone is now digital, right? Whatever job you're doing, except for probably doctors who have to move around. But even doctors' health is not great. Sorry, coming back. So, yeah, what was I saying? Okay. So when you're on calls, we can always talk, walk and talk on calls. That was added. So small things. So yes, we all are busy. Even IT, non-IT, I think sub busy hi hai, because we all end up doing multitasking in our lives. And I did that. But one more thing that helped me was eating. When I'm talking about eating food, because I was really bad at breakfast. I was really bad at dinners, eating out. We used to order say, Zomato say, a lot more, and processed food भी बहुत high था. Organizing during the weekends. Can you buy your stuff during the weekends? Can you prepare partially, not fully? Or definitely delegating, to a maid or something, and making them also understand small changes in your cooking styles. Those help because time to utna hi hai. Sorry, the third thing is I realized that with that mindset changes, was time ja raha hai. If I don't take action now on my health, it's only going to get worse. Insurance can cover only so much. Okay. But if I am in the bed, then who's going to take care of my family? And it actually gives more trauma. So you have to prioritize. You have to create time, small pockets of time, even 10 minutes. People think you need 1 hour. No, you need only 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes of time, and then you will see how you can create that.
Wow, thanks, Veda. That was really nice, insightful, and very valuable input. बहुत सारे कॉर्पोरेट वालों के एक्सक्यूज खत्म कर दिया आपने. Farokh, coming to you, for anything and for most of the health related issue, you focus a lot on the approach called holistic health. That's your approach. Why do you think it is important for even a person who is just starting or a person who is facing some lifestyle issues like diabetes or liver related issues? Why it is so important to focus on holistic health? And second is why being a part of the community is so important. So two questions, ek saath.
See, let's come first to holistic health. Yeah, like to me, the most important thing is that you need to answer, ये सब क्यों कर रहे हो? What is all this for? All this is for so that I can feel that I'm energetic, I've got the energy with me, and I'm feeling great. Right. So this is the main problem. Okay, when medicine starts, treating the symptom and not the cause, you get into big trouble. And that's the reason why we talk about, sugar, theek hai yaar. 1996 mein, the markers were different. At 200, you were okay, non-diabetic. Suddenly, because they changed the marker, abhi itne sare log diabetic ho gaye. Okay, they changed the number from 200, they shifted the marker to 130. Now that's crazy, isn't it? So, I've got, sugar problems. Let's address it. Let's take some pills, keep the sugar under control. And you're killing the whole body in the process. So that's very, very important. Like, I'll give you a very simple example, which, I've been very depressed with for many years on this people who have renal failure. Okay, this kidney issue, people who need dialysis, people who need kidney transplant. Okay, the doctors, medicine tells them that they should not take protein. Now, please understand, protein is the building block of life. You need protein. Otherwise, without protein, the person won't survive. It's like a slow death. So here you're using all the technology to save the kidney, but you're killing the whole person in the bargain in any case. All right. So this is something that the people need to understand. So yes, I do understand that if you take the protein, there's a residue, and the residue then, creates an impact on the kidney where the creatine levels, go to dangerous levels. But you have to understand that today we have choices. We got protein available with a PDCA score of 1. That means it's fully digestible. That means when you take that protein, there is nothing's going to remain. So there's no load on the kidney, and hence you're looking after both the things. Whatever kidney needs is also being looked after, whereas what the holistic health needs is also looked after. When you look at one or the other in isolation, okay, you just look at a particular thing and keep on focus on it so much, then you get into big trouble. As long as you keep treating the symptom and not the cause, and not keep the whole holistic, originally, today there are many doctors, many medical practitioners are coming out openly and saying this, that we joined the medical fraternity to serve people. And somewhere down the line, we've lost the plot, okay, in following what we've been taught, and it's not their fault, because they've been taught to deal, okay, there are various protocols. They got to follow the protocols. They are professional. Okay. And that is the time when I tell people, okay, please read these two books, you know. What Your Doctor Does Not Know of Nutritional Medicine Might Be Killing You by Dr. Ray Strand, and Death by Supplementation, Death by Prescription. Okay. These are two very, very good books. If you read these two books, you will really understand, that what the doctors have been taught and what they are trained to do. Now, we are not here to replace doctors. Let doctors do the doctor's work, you know. We are out here to help people so that they don't need to go to a doctor. And hence, save themselves of all the other trouble and all the other side effects that this medicines have got to, to give. So that's the first thing about the holistic health. And what was your second question?
Why it is important to be a part of a community that we are
Yeah,
having.
why is it
So
important?
what makes it like really?
Because over experience, what I found was, even in sports, that when you train with a buddy, okay, the results are far more effective, okay, than you training yourself. You always need a training partner. But when you take this one step further and join a group, then I'll give you a very, very simple example. It's slightly non-medical and sports oriented. 1983 pre-Olympics in Los Angeles. Okay, now I'm going to shift to sports a little bit over here. You are allowed 2 entries from each country. Guess what happens? The event that I was sailing was called a 470. It was a small trapeze boat. And a tiny nation like New Zealand, who has a population of less than 3 million people, came with these 2 people, and they were 1 and 2 at the pre-Olympics. All right. Now, if you're 1 and 2 at pre-Olympics, what would you think that? And by the way, I'll give you further. The number 3 was the world champion who did not get selected. All right. So he lost in the trials over there, and the number 1 and 2 who came over there were finished 1 and 2. So like you got 1 and 2 over there, you got the world champion over there. And then at the 1984 Olympic Games, exactly a year later, these guys thought that they were very smart. So now 1, 2, 3, 4 got defeated in the trials, and the 5th guy won the trials. And he was representing the country. So they said, wow, we got everything with us. We got like these 4 guys who like smashed the world. And now this 5th guy smashed these 4 guys. So like easy gold medal, right? I mean, logic would say that easy gold medal. And they didn't come with 1 boat. They came with 3 boats over there. 1 month in advance, training on the Los Angeles beach, and in a corner. So these 2 guys are his pacers. So he's training with 2 pacers. So it's like, what I just mentioned, a buddy system. Whereas the other group, the entire Europe and the Asians and everybody was training together. So like there were like 25 of them. Guess what happened in the results? New Zealand finished 15th.
Okay.
Now, does that answer your question? Why is it good to train in a group? Because when you train in a group, you can never go wrong. Because you see what was happening. Let me explain to you further. These 2 guys were going downhill. And there was no way of tracking or monitoring this. So they kept going downhill, and they kept going further and further downhill. And they were making changes in their sail designs, okay, which they didn't, they were not able to accurately track whether it's really getting them a good VMG. And imagine just a year ago, they would go they were so much fast that they could go the wrong way and still win. And all of a sudden, I mean, this is such a glaring example that why training in a group, because in a group, 1 or 2 guys can go wrong. 25 people can't go wrong. Is this making sense?
Very valid.
It's a very, very valid point that avoid training in a group, staying in the group, sticking to the community is so crucial, because it's sort of it's not only just giving motivation to others, it's a part of it. Okay. But it also helps to track down and clarify what's right and what's wrong, what's working and what's not working. Because when a group works together, okay, everything becomes crystal clear real fast. I'll give you another example. 1988, after I finished my Olympic Games, I was told to look after a class of boat where India was hosting the World Championships. And I promised my mentor that, okay, after the Olympics, I'm there day and night. So I worked for 3 months over there day and night. And this were a bunch of people, okay, that I was training. And I remember the very first day, I told them that, guys, we are going to win this World Championships. And they had finished last in the previous World Championships. Last. And I could see these kids laughing in their minds. Idiot. He doesn't know we came last. Of course, I knew. But they didn't think that I would know, because they thought if I knew, I would never make such a statement. Right? It's not logical that somebody who comes last, can come first in the next World Champion just a year later. And soon, because it was a group training together, there were 10 people training together. The 5th Indian won the World Championships. So I proved my point that, 1, 2, 3, 4 could have also won it.
Correct.
And because we were training in a group, okay, we were so well prepared that we could figure out what's right and wrong very quickly, because the whole group, there were no errors. Like one guy could be off on one day, one guy could be off on another day. After that, again, I was accused of, really pushing the teams. And I never trained any of these guys ever again. And nobody came in the top 20 since 1988 now. You can just imagine. So why training in a group is so important, and staying in the community. So I think I've gone a little bit off track, but I think it was important to stress the point. Yeah, stress the point that why staying in a community really helps you. Because if you're out of the community, you have no way of really knowing where you are headed. Yeah. You will not see, when you're in a community, all the technology comes to you directly. All the advancement in knowledge comes to you. All the R&D comes to you. And you learn from each other's mistakes. You learn from each other's, good points.
Great. Farokh, you spoke about protein and why it is important. Now that brings me to the another question, that we hear a lot about supplements. I mean, in fact, recently I visited a Fauji canteen and I saw a whole rack filled with protein and all the stuff. So, according to you, why supplements are important, and what does make the Nutralite so unique? You've been in school.
First of all, let me make one thing very clear, that there is a lot of information on the internet. And to begin with, all of it is not correct. Okay. You have to have the wisdom, the experience, and the knowledge to differentiate fact from fiction. Secondly, okay, most of the stuff on the internet are half truths or half wrongs. Okay. So again, you need experience and knowledge to be able to differentiate that and, put it in the right perspective. Now, if you were living on an organic farm where you were growing your own fruits and vegetables and you were fully self-sufficient in a pristine environment with a good air quality index, okay, with pristine water coming to the fields, okay, you're looking after the, turning of the fields well, you're not using genetically modified crop, and you're eating that stuff, I can assure you, you don't need supplements. Okay.
Right.
But the question is, how many of us have that opportunity today to do it? We're just out of that league, isn't it? To own your own organic farm and to do it. So the second best thing is to understand what supplementation is all about. And in order to understand, you have to first understand the basic, that the food that you eat gives you a certain amount of nutrition. Okay. The body needs a certain amount of nutrition, whether it's micro or micronutrients, it needs a certain amount of nutrition. Now, if there is a deficiency, that means the amount that your body needs and what you're getting from the produce that you're having from the market, and there is a gap, nothing will happen to you the next day or a week or a month or a year. But if the same thing goes on for decades and this gap continues, you are heading for lifestyle problems and challenges. And that's the gap that you need to fill with supplementation. That's first, understand the basics. Okay. Second point is, the internet is again full of bad supplementation. Okay. Again, you need experience to figure out what's good supplementation and what's bad supplementation. Now, my idea of good supplementation is very simple, that the produce, that the raw material should come from a pristine source. It should come from an organic source. There should be purity, there should be safety, there should be efficacy, there should be consistency. Once you are clear that all that is there in that supplement, then take that supplement. And that is again why we need the community, where we stress that, okay, boss, we've done all this, we've tried a lot of things, and somebody told me that, you guys got to be open to some new ideas. I say, yeah, we are surely open, but don't tell me what we have done wrong, 100 times over and avoided it to, try that same thing, because that's what the community does. That's what, we help you with. Okay, look, we tried all this stuff and we know what's pure, we know what is safe, we know what is consistent, and which has great potency and, just got great efficacy. So this is how you need to understand. It's a difficult subject, and that's again, being in the community keeps teaching you all the time, that, what's right and what's wrong.
Thank you. Thanks for those valid inputs. Veda, coming to you. You've experienced this whole program for some time now. You are a health buddy. You understand all these things. According to you, your experience, why do you think, like, I'm sure that a lot of people have complimented you for your weight loss, and why do you think that this philosophy is important for people to understand, know, as per you? So, what's your take, and what's your biggest learning that you feel that people need to know?
I think first is the right awareness, because people think being healthy is very, very complicated, can't be done, etc., etc. And medicine is the only solution, unfortunately. And that was what I had, thought of earlier. Ki I don't think, मैं कुछ कर पाऊंगी, दवाई लेके देख लेंगे. But unfortunately, science can only keep us alive. It cannot guarantee that you will be moving, you will be able to take care of yourself, and enjoying life. And I don't think any of us want to be bedridden, being taken care of and not actually looking outside, going out of the house, right? I think that's one reason, for one big reason why definitely you should be looking at this program. Second big reason is we don't talk of major changes. We talk of small changes. And even if you adapt to, you know, 20% of what Farokh is saying, what the whole program design is, what the nutrition philosophy is, or what, timings, etc. Even if we follow 20%, you will see actually almost a 40 to 50% change from where you are today. So that is, I think, the second reason why people should look at what we have in this program. And third, it is actually, if you sit and think, it is easy to follow. Plus, I think you set the right example to the next generation also. It's not possible for us to actually teach the next generation. Absolutely not possible, because they're not going to listen. But when we start adapting to these small lifestyle changes, because they were copying what we were doing, or whatever I was doing. For example, I'll take my example, ordering from outside, hardly moving. Even weekends is to go in sleeping, catching, that playing catch up for that rest phase and all, not doing anything, bed ki movies dekho, no activity, etc. Now, because of this, at least my daughters are know a lot about nutrition. They know that what is the right supplementation. My elder one is in Bombay, away from me. The one thing that she does right for sure every day is supplementation. The second thing that she aims to follow is eating early in the night, especially because obviously staying on her own, it's a little difficult for her to cook her own food, etc., etc. But eating first is having a morning breakfast, which is healthy. Second is not having a late dinner. Those small habits, I think, when we start doing it, only if we start doing it and we come to a community like this to understand what is to be done, is when there will be slight correction for the next generation. Otherwise, I don't think there's any hope.
Very well said. In fact, you've also answered the unsaid question of the next generation, how they look at, and very rightly said that they won't do probably everything that you tell them, but they will follow what they see. Uh, I don't feel like stopping my questions, but because of the time, I just need to throw one last. Commander Vadera will. I'll come after this last question and we'll open it if anybody has got any question. So Farokh, although I don't feel like stopping, but I'll definitely wait for the next session where I can put up more question. But one last question before we end the session tonight, Farokh. Although in a way, like you and Veda, you both have very clearly said that what makes this unique and what are the stuff. But still, just to summarize, I would like to ask you this question. There are a lot of diet programs. There is a lot of this, that, other programs on the internet, as you also pointed. What makes this program unique and different?
We don't give
You,
diets because there are enough books written on it that diets don't work. Okay,
okay.
we try to change the person's mindset so that they can make good, educated, informed choices when they are selecting their own diet. I don't want a North Indian to eat South Indian food, and I don't want a South Indian to eat a North Indian food. I want them to eat the food that they have grown up with, which is suitable for their genetic nature and their genes. Okay, but just minor. We do minor modifications, minor editing here and there, because when you do that, things change all of a sudden, right? So, like, for example, if you're a South Indian, I still tell them, okay, I know you love your rice, but try and not have it at dinner, try and have it at lunch. Okay. I know you like your rice, but instead of 2 portions, have 1 portion. So we make small changes. But we don't give them, we don't order them, no, take this, Monday, Tuesday, this is no, we make them use their own mind and we work on their mindset. Because if the mindset doesn't change, nothing changes. If the mindset changes, then you have left a person with the right knowledge for life.
Very well said. One last thing. A lot of people are worried, once they have this thyroid or something like a diabetes. Do you think something that most of the articles say that it cannot be reversed? Do you think if a person can follow the holistic health approach and all the stuff, can it be reversed?
See, it is very simple. Okay. And it's a lot of common sense that why have you got these problems? Because of your lifestyle. Now,
Correct.
don't you think that because of your lifestyle, if you have got those problems, changing the lifestyle is a better option and a better choice than to just be over dependent on medication? Yes, medication is there, and then people ask me this question, but yeah, difficult, hey, is this easy? Is this difficult? And I always say, wrong question. The question should be, is it worth it?
Thank you very much, Farokh. Thanks a lot, Veda, for taking out this time and giving us all this input, your experience, sharing and adding value to our life. Over to Commander Sab. You have a question, you've raised your hand. And if anybody has any question, you can definitely raise your hand. Uh, it was great talking to both of you.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for this
Veda, I think,
opportunity. I think
Veda, I think you need to unmute.
I have asked. Commander,
Okay.
I have said, yeah.
Yeah. Sir.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
So, Raj, very well pinpointed questions. I liked your trying to fix them,
Yes.
get them to own.
Even I enjoyed having this conversation today.
Yeah. No. And of course, Veda, I've been hearing for so many months and all. Her own personal example is a real, mover for others to follow from where to where and all. And Farokh, of course, I know him for how many decades. When he says, the repetition is the mother of learning. How true is he? Because morning, my 5 kilometer walk, I just put on those videos, which I get from him. I listen to it, even if it is repetition. So by doing that, I become so conscious about it. If there's a choice to have whiskey and a beer, I'll take beer. I come to that stage where I used to enjoy my little whiskey in a good company, not as a regular drinker, foggy kind of thing. But it's less this thing. So I think it's a mindset. It's a total mindset. When we go for a party and both me and Farokh are together, and he's always hanging around me, to see whether I'm following what I'm telling him or not. But I just try and follow that, pick up whatever is I feel is good for the health and all. So I think the
I've
mindset.
noticed a considerable change in the size of your dessert portions. That is good.
Yeah. No, it is,
The
but if
big
I
caramel custard has become now a small caramel custard.
yeah, no caramel custard. But then if I do that, the next day morning I do extra walk just to kill the issue. Once in a week cheating, I think it should be allowed and all, provided you know what you're doing and how to counter it.
There are consequences for all this.
Yeah, there are consequences for everything. But I think, this realization which you are trying to inculcate amongst all of us is that correct habits, the eating habits and all. It's a big challenge to educate youngsters, especially the working in corporates, between 30 and let us say 50 or 55 years, when they want to reach the peak of their career, where only work and work. The laptop time, phone time is no matter. And they tell you, you tell me, how do I do this thing? Don't you think I should be, concentrating on my career? And you really can't convince them because they got a mind of their own. So till the time they themselves realize or they get into a problem where they finally have to find a solution to the origin of the problem and then get it treated, they will not do it. So it's a big challenge. I really don't know how it can be handled, pan India or to the thing. I think it has to start with the education to the educating the children, maybe 10th class or 11th or around that. A compulsory subject of how to live healthy. Because if they are convinced and if they understand, then I'm sure they will make their parents also do the thing. It can't be other way. Parents can't convince the children. There's no way you can convince children. So
Absolutely,
there's a big challenge which needs to be taken up.
Sir, we
Maybe
are the last generation which listened to our parents, and now we have to listen to our children.
we have no choice. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yes.
They
Thank
don't.
you. Yeah, thank you, Commander Sir, for sharing your experience and building in that belief in the system that it is important. And I'm sure the more we talk, the more Farokh का ये जो mission है हर घर तंदुरुस्त हर घर medicine free. I'm sure it is going to grow, and we are going to see that effect, that how more and more families are going to be benefited from this. So thank you very much, Farokh. Thank you very much, Veda, for taking out that time and giving us that insight and. Bringing those experiences, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to take benefit of this. And thank you very much.
Thank you.